Rombo Show is back, combined with the Brotherhood Ballad to debut the Tucson and Titletown podcast. You guys checking this out on Spotify and YouTube, you will see our new logo designed by yours truly. I'm excited for this new era of Tucson and Titletown. And to start us off, we have to talk about the big storyline now this week. Brian Kelly getting fired. That makes it how many coaches firing the FBS, Dad? 10?
I think it's like 11.
11 coaches have been fired already. It's unbelievable. I think Brian Kelly's gonna have a hell of a job trying to get a job in the Power Four because he really struggled to kind of adapt to that LSU culture in Baton Rouge. This week we had some unbelievable games. We had a Hail Mary in the Missouri Vanderbilt game that was completed, but 1 yard short. Alex, we'll start with you. What did you see this past week, and kind of where does it rank in terms of the first 9 weeks of the season? Would you give it what if you had to give it a grade? Would you give it a B, B plus, A? What did you think if you had to give it a grade?
Uh, it was kind of pretty. I mean, there was nothing that was like outstanding necessarily to write home about. The teams that won, that should have won, really did win. Um, Outside of Arizona State taking a loss as a ranked team at home, I'd say I'd give this week probably a C. I mean, it's a passing grade. Nothing, no like major storylines other than what you just mentioned about Brian Kelly getting fired. Also, he got locked out of the after he left on Saturday, he was locked out of the LSU facilities. He
Gee,
couldn't get he couldn't even get in on Sunday to get his stuff.
wow.
Oh, wow.
They don't hold back in the SEC. You
Yeah,
either
which
win or
is
you're
just
out.
Yeah, it's just terrific. There's apparently there's some stuff going around the rumor mill that the LSU Board of Trustees and the main donor groups of LSU had threatened to not donate their $20 million that they donate every year if Brian Kelly continued to coach.
Jeez. I mean, they don't play around, especially those boosters. If you're not winning, they're gonna stop putting up the money and fronting the money. Dad, did you have any comments on that Brian Kelly situation?
Yeah, I mean, I looked at his record. They had his history in that. He's won big, like Cincinnati had a huge winning percentage. He won at Notre Dame, and he was at Grand Valley State and had a really good record. He's got a huge overall record. He was 70% winning at LSU, but they just pulled the trigger so quickly. And because as you pointed out, that the boosters have such pull nowadays, and with so much money and so much pressure that they can get rid of these coaches, and they think that they could have buyouts up to $250 million when you had all the coaches that could get fired before the end of the season. Because the biggest problem is that they're with the window opening up for the portal like in December instead of January, they're trying to fire all these coaches in the middle of the season so they can get a new coach in when the portal starts up. And it's hard when you have the transition because if, say, Lane Kiffin's in the playoffs, everybody wants him. He'd have to pull out right in the middle when the team's in the playoffs. So it's very awkward with the scheduling and these mid-season firings now because it's going to be commonplace unless they move the calendar back to January after the national championship game to open the portal up. So we don't have coaches getting fired in the middle of the year all the time.
Yeah,
Yeah,
also to add really quick, really quick about Brian Kelly. He's always said that his main goal was to win a national championship, right? And he wanted to win a national championship at Notre Dame. And then, he leaves and his predecessor, Marcus Freeman, plays for a national championship the year after he leaves. And so he didn't win a national championship with Cincy. He didn't win one with Notre Dame. Now he's not going to win one with LSU. So the bigger question at large, I think, is he going to coach in a Power Four school the rest of his career?
that will be determined. I think from sources this week, I think Lane Kiffin is definitely going to be either at Ole Miss, he's going to get re-signed, or he's going to go to LSU or potentially Florida. I think Lane Kiffin is going to be that prized possession. Obviously, Cignetti was thrown around in that rumor mill for like Penn State and things like that, but he was re-signed to that huge contract. I think the Penn State job, the LSU job, and the Florida job. I think LSU, Penn State, and Florida, top three. We can very well say that for the Power Four open jobs. Now, for the rest of them, for my rankings, I have number four, Oklahoma State. I think the Big 12 is pretty much wide open every year. And if they're able to get a James Franklin or someone of that nature to really kind of bring it together after two losing seasons for Oklahoma State, their first time having that, I'm sure, in forever. I think they really need to hire somebody that is able to do what Mike Gundy did and have success for 10 plus seasons. I think next is Virginia Tech, Arkansas, Stanford, and UCLA. I think UCLA is probably the least desirable of those open positions just because it's a basketball school. LA, there's so much more to do than go to a college football game at the Coliseum. So, of those rankings, Alex, I'll go to you. Do you agree with them? And if you don't, then how would you order them yourself?
Yeah, I like that. I'd agree with that list. It's a pretty solid list. I think also a name that could be potentially that has been thrown around for sure and might be a viable option is John Gruden.
He's popping off with the videos. I think he's up with Barstool now, so I think he's going
Yeah.
to be eager. He's a competitive maniac. He's going to be eager to get back into the game.
John Gruden at any school would be crazy. I mean, he's basically been blackballed from the NFL, so like why not go and try to take like how does Norvell still have a job too is a better question. So like I think John Gruden's also a good candidate for any of these open three spots, and I do like your ranking.
I think chopping block is Norvell and Fickle are they're on the they're on the assembly line. They're ready to get sliced and diced because I think their job is going to be up for grabs in the ensuing weeks. Dad, we'll go to you with the group of five corner Super Bowl of the group of five this past weekend. South Florida and Memphis did not disappoint. Memphis was able to rebound off that UAB loss the previous week, and me and Alex predicted that upset. It was a really, really fun game. Probably the game of the week if you discount anything from the SEC. Dad, I have to ask you, who do you think makes the college football playoff from the group of five, whether it be James Madison, South Florida, Memphis, or Navy, or if you have another team you would like to
Oh,
throw in that ring as well?
oh, okay, yeah. The of course the Americans really getting a lot of love with that. And pretty much everybody's picking one of those teams. And Navy, the reason why nobody's picking them, even though they're undefeated and on top and everything, is they have to play practically everybody right behind them, like North Texas and USF and Memphis and them. And so they also got Notre Dame in there, so that's gonna really be tough to win that one. So and then they play Army real late, so they've got a real tough schedule. They got to play all the teams right behind them in the standings. That's why nobody's really picking them because of that. Plus with the Notre Dame game, so it's going to be really close with North Texas 7-1, Memphis 7-1, and all, and Tulane 6-1. You pretty much got to go 11-1 to make it. So I don't know if any two-loss teams. I know USF has two losses, so but some of them play each other in that. So it's going to be tough. And there's other teams, but they all don't have to play each other so much as Navy does. So that's why nobody's really picking Navy. But the other uh, G5 teams I wanted to mention, you did say James Madison. They're the only ones really in the Sun Belt because both Southern Miss and Troy have two losses. And then in the Mountain West, San Diego State only has one loss. They'd have to run the table. And UNLV's got one loss. So they would have to run the table. And of course, Boise and Hawaii have two losses. So, and the MAC have three losses or more. And then the only team in Conference USA that has, well, two of them really, Kennesaw State is playing UTEP right now. And then Western Kentucky has two, but all the others have three. So odds are probably 80% chance it's going to be an American team. Maybe a Mountain West can squeeze it. Maybe James Madison, like you said. But just see how Navy can get through the gauntlet of teams. If they can run the table, they may end up getting it. But again, they haven't been ranked. They're in like other receiving votes, whereas the other teams like South Florida and Memphis and them are getting a lot of love and getting ranked in that. So it's just hard to say, but I'm glad that the group of five gets a piece of the action, and I follow them, and just checking out all the conferences, see how they're doing.
Our North Texas correspondent, Alex Johnson, he picked the perfect time to be a Mean Green diehard fan because their coach is leading the entire FBS, their team, their squad, Maker, a zero-star quarterback, did not start a game at quarterback before this season since junior varsity in high school. He wasn't even a varsity starter. He's leading the nation in passing yards. This coach has coached the likes of Patrick Mahomes, John Mateer, Cam Ward. I know you're a huge Mean Green guy. I mean, they're probably going crazy in Denton this season, only one loss. But if you had to bet for next season, your guy Maker, what team is he going to be on? Is he going to stay at North Texas, or do you think one of these bigger programs will take him away? I've heard Indiana could be in the running. What do you think is going to happen with Maker? Do you think it's kind of perfect fit for him, or do you think he's going to stay loyal to the Mean Green?
I'd love to see him stay loyal to Denton. But damn, he's been balling out 608 yards in a game. That was electrifying to watch. Um, but yeah, obviously, if North Texas continues to play like this and they somehow sneak into the American Conference game and win, I don't think there's a chance in hell that Drew Messamaker would stay. Um, Especially the season that he's having. I think there are a lot of programs out there that could be reaching out towards him his way. You know where I wouldn't mind seeing him? About a little bit north of me, Ames, Iowa. Rocco Becht is, I believe, in his senior year, if I'm not mistaken. And having him in the crimson and or sorry, red and gold would be electric. I think that would rock Ames if Drew Mestamaker came. But yeah, I mean, he's going to be hot off the press coming into next season, so I think he could. His options are wide open, and if he does leave North Texas, I don't blame him. But man, if what it would be like to be in Denton this year, oh my gosh.
Yeah, we'll have to see if you can get a 6 year in golf and take a little
Yeah,
master's course at in
yeah,
Denton.
yeah. I'll actually be in Denton in what, two two and a half weeks. I'll be in Denton. I'm gonna go tour the campus. I'm gonna go to the football stadium, and I will be buying a Maker jersey.
We love to see it.
So
You'll have to wear it when we do the pod then, but
yeah, so the podcast that will happen on November 25th will be the pod. Oh, wait, that's not thanks. Yeah, the podcast that happens on November 25th. So about a month from now is when I'll be rocking my all green Drew Mestamaker jersey.
I can't wait. That's going to be a huge podcast. We'll have a lot of content coming out that week with the Thanksgiving football games. We're going to have a ton of content coming every week here on the Tucson and Titletown podcast. Now, every week we've done this season, Scotty has given us his Big 12 rankings. Now, we have five teams ranked right now. Arizona State's on the cusp. K-State obviously is having a disappointing season so far. A lot of interesting matchups this weekend we'll get to when we look ahead to the Week 10 slate. Any changes so far for you, Scotty? Or are you kind of thinking, is it the same old ranking, or how are we looking?
No, I got BYU first, but Cincinnati, the boys from Queen City, are second. I got them second there. And most everybody's got them below Texas Tech and Houston, but I got Texas Tech third and Houston fourth, but they could all tie and have a tiebreaker like last year. And then I got Utah fifth, TCU sixth, I got ASU seventh, K State eighth. That's your upper division there, the top eight. Then I got Iowa State ninth, Baylor 10th. I got Arizona 11th, KU 12th, and then UCF 13th, CU 14th, and West Virginia 15th, and Oklahoma State 16th.
Yeah, might as well do it now. Now that we're talking about the Big 12, obviously we have some huge matchups. I'm hoping Arizona can get it done against Colorado. Cincinnati, Utah. Who do you have winning that one? Utah's at home, favored 8.5. Do you think Utah wins it, or do you think Cincy will be able to? keep up with that second ranking that you just gave.
Yeah, I think they're going to win. I think they can
Cincinnati?
handle it. They're pretty tough, and people have underestimated them. They don't get a lot of love, but they creeped right in there, and they're hanging tough with BYU 5-0, and they got to play each other here in a couple of weeks at Cincinnati, I believe, and that's going to be a tough game. That could decide it all. The only other game is Texas Tech has to play BYU, and Houston doesn't have to play any of the three. They're all finished for them, so they could run the table and go 11-1. They don't have to play any of those teams. So it's gonna how those four shape up in that. But again, that's gonna be a huge game, the Cincinnati BYU game. It's the game after we play Cincinnati.
Now, Alex, every week, we love to give our Heisman top fives. I got to get my list finalized, so I'll go to you first, and then Scotty, you can take it away with yours, and then we'll close out with me for our Heisman top fives.
Okay.
Yes, sir. So for my Heisman top five here, we've got at one for my list. We have a new number one for me, and that would be Fernando Mendoza at number one. Now it's not very close, but he has jumped slightly above the gunslinging Ty Simpson, in my opinion. It's almost like a 1A, 1B for me. It's damn close, but I think a for sure, third and fourth would be Marcel Reed and Julian Sayin in that order. And then on the fifth spot for me right now is Diego Pavia. And my sixth spot looking in just on the horizon would be Gunnar Stockton. Um, Now, I did check on DraftKings this morning to see if I could bet on Drew Mestamaker for Heisman. They do not let you bet on him. The most plus odds you can bet on are between three people being Byram Brown, Blake Horvath, and Bryce Underwood.
I mean, if Blake Horvath won the Heisman, I think Navy would do something crazy there in the wherever they're at. Aren't they in
Annapolis, Maryland.
Yep, there it
Yeah.
is. Dad, your Heisman top five
Yeah.
and some honorable
Well,
mentions.
I got seven in here, so I figured get the
Oh,
guys
let's
out.
go.
And I got Fernando Mendoza out of Indiana, tops. I got Ty the Gunslinger Simpson out of Alabama,
Yeah.
second. I got Diego Pavia out of Vandy there, third. Marcel Reed, Texas A&M. I got him fourth. He looked real
Jacob.
good. He's really good. He popped up on the radar screen. I got Jeremiah Love out of Notre Dame there, fifth. Trinidad Chambliss out of Ole Miss, sixth. Pretty good. And Georgia Tech, Haynes King, Georgia Tech, undefeated. I got them seventh in that. So a lot of good players there, and some you mentioned too, Alex. So I'm probably going to get seven. They got some really
Yep.
hot teams out there with good quarterbacks in that.
Love that list, Scotty.
Yeah.
For me, I am invested, we'll say, allegedly financially into Ty Simpson winning. So I need to put him at number one, kind of by obligation. I already voted for him on Twitter and with the fan vote, so I'm hoping to influence that as much as I can. Mendoza, number two for me. Number three, Marcel Reed. Despite the two interceptions, they absolutely blew the doors off LSU and Baton Rouge. They kicked Brian Kelly out of the office before he was even able to get his stuff, as Alex mentioned. Number four, Julian Sayin. I think Ohio State looks like the best team in the country, albeit he's asked to do not quite as much because their defense is the number one defense in the land of college football. Haynes King, number five. I've heard from sources that he looks the most like Tim Tebow since Tim Tebow. A little bit more slender, but Tim Tebow was built like a fullback back in the day for Florida. And number six, Diego Pavia. I think Vanderbilt has the opportunity to do something special in the SEC. It's going to be a tough race down the stretch with Bama, Texas A&M, Ole Miss, all that SEC is just bunched up. We can get into that right now. SEC coming down the stretch is going to be absolutely brutal. I think that the teams that I have the least faith in to potentially win the SEC, I think Texas A&M has it coming for them. I think one of these games, whether it be Missouri next week or Texas at the end of the year, I think they lose either one of those games. Texas A&M will not go undefeated. I just I don't know. I think they've been playing well. They were able to get out of some close games, but I think they will not go undefeated. Bama and I would say Georgia, I have the most faith in just because Alabama, the talent has been there. Ryan Williams has been disappointing. His drop rate is at 10%. And for an alleged number one or number two receiver on your team, obviously Bernard is good. Of those teams in the SEC, at the top we have, A&M, Bama, Georgia, Mississippi, Vanderbilt. Of those five teams, Dad, we'll go to you. Who do you have the most faith in to make the SEC championship game, and who do you kind of have the most questions about?
Okay. I'll start. Most people are predicting Vanderbilt to make the playoffs, but they won't play for the SEC championship game. They're going to be right underneath a couple of teams and go as an at-large bid. So that's what most people are saying. I think Texas A&M should be in the final two, to get to play for the championship. The team they would play is probably either Alabama, Georgia, or Mississippi. It's going to be really close, and that so, I mean, I could project Alabama. They really are strong right now. They've come up. Alabama wants by LSU and Oklahoma, and they got Auburn to close out. And they got Eastern Illinois there just before the our Auburn game and that. So I think it's going to be A&M and Alabama, and those other ones probably will get at-large bids. Probably only four. I don't think they can get five teams in because unless Notre Dame doesn't make it, they could get five in because with all the others, you got to at least have one slot for the others and that. So it's going to be close, but I think they'll all be right up there.
Alex, for you being a Green Bay fan, and just to tie this in with the NFL and college, losing to rivals like your hated Detroit Lions and the Vikings, it sucks. I'm sure it ruins not just that following Monday, that whole week. It just sucks losing to a rival. Now, I bring this up because Ohio State, the Ohio State, is undefeated, having one of the best seasons in program history, looking dominant, has the chance, I think, to be undefeated going into that Michigan game at Michigan, Saturday, November 29th. While you watch it, you can wear your Mess to Make a jersey. I think for Ohio State, if they were to go back to back this year, but they would be a one-loss team, and that loss coming to Michigan, does that put a blemish on Ryan Day's status? Does that affect anything, or is that just Michigan fans something to brag about if they beat them yet again?
No, no, it's because it's what happens like when your team. So I'm not calling Michigan historically bad because that's incorrect. But when you play in the conference as the Big Ten, and other than their perfect season where they were loaded and they went on to win the national championship, it's like it would be like so this year, let's say the Packers go on to win the Super Bowl and they lose three times, once being to the Bengals or to the Browns, and then the other two being to the Vikings. And then all the Vikings fans would be like, "Oh, well, you lost to us twice." Yeah, well, okay, who cares? You guys are fucking irrelevant. Have never won a Super Bowl in your whole whole franchise's history. You've gone to how many? Four, and lost how many? Four. So it's just like, who cares? Oh, wow, you lost to Michigan. Doesn't matter. It's just like it's just that it's just funny when people are like, "Well, you lost to our team." Yeah, well, guess what? You didn't win the national championship. You didn't win the Super Bowl. It's like, it's a joke. It's gonna be like if the Eagles go back to back, and then Giants fans are like, "Well, you lost to us." Okay, well, you won like five games. So it's I hate that narrative. Like Ohio State could lose four games, somehow make it and win the Natty, and no, those four losses would be nullified because they literally reached the highest point in the sport.
Switching gears, if you had to pick today, Dad, yes or no, the Big Ten representative, one of them, will win the national championship, and the Big Ten will have three straight national championships. Do you think yes or no today, if you had to pick? And it'll probably be SEC or a Big Ten team winning it all, but if you had to pick, will it be a Big Ten or an SEC team?
It's almost like you got to flip a coin but I got a feeling it's going to be an SEC team this year. But of course, with Indiana, Ohio State, and Oregon are the big three. Everybody's pretty much projected them out and be one of them in that. But and then of course we've got about like five of them there in the SEC. So it's a coin flip, but I'll go with the SEC. It's going to be close again because have very powerful teams. And Alex is right. They could lose some games before, but it's who win at the end because like Ohio State did win it, but lost to Oregon in the regular season. They came back and won it, and Oregon was undefeated but lost at the end.
Now, looking ahead to this Week 10 slate of games, Dad, we'll stay with you. We'll do a little pick 'em right here. Arizona State, Iowa State. Who do you have winning that one?
Well, let me pull up the Big 12 here and look at it here. So you got okay, and Iowa State's favored by 7.5. You know what? I'm going to go with Iowa State in that game. It's tough. ASU's got to go on the road there, and it's not easy. Iowa State's one of the toughest environments to play in, and if ASU doesn't have their weapons, that Tyson guy and their Q
Love it. Yeah.
Levitt, yeah, I mean that's why they lost to Houston. If they don't have those guys, Iowa State's going to win.
Arizona, Colorado. What's your preview for this week for the Wildcats
That one,
after a bye
yeah,
week?
I think we can win that. We're favored by 4.5 on that. One thing, I know Brennan talked about the elevation a bit in that, but we're 2,400 feet in Tucson. It's not as high as Colorado, but it's better than sea level. If we were a sea level team, it'd be harder. But we can handle. We have beaten Colorado several times in Boulder, and we have a better team. We just hopefully, if you can field goal range, kick the field goal. Don't gamble on fourth down all the time. But I think we can win that because we have beaten them there before. And we have to have that game because we have to have that and we have to have KU or Baylor. And that ASU is going to be tough and Cincinnati's really going to be tough. But I think we can take Colorado.
Alex, North Texas Navy. Does the winner of this game make the college football playoff if you had to choose?
If I have to say right now, if the winner of this game makes the college football playoffs, I don't know if I can give you an answer, but what I can say confidently is I think the winner of this game makes the American Conference Championship game.
I like that a lot better. Now,
So if we really quick, if we look at the American Conference standings, right now Navy is ahead. They're top of the leaderboard, um, with a 7-0 record and a 5-0 record in conference play. At number two, sitting in second place, we have Tulane, who is 6-1 and 3-0 in the conference. Number three, we have Memphis, who is 3-1 in the conference and um, 7-1 overall. Fourth is South Florida, who is also 3-1 with a 6-2 record. And North Texas at fifth. They are 7-1, but they lost to USF, so that's why they're in fourth. If North Texas wins this game on Saturday, it will be huge for them. They'll be right back in the hunt.
yeah, I think,
So
yeah.
this is, I mean, I know they sold out their game against USF, but I think this game has even bigger implications than the USF game at this juncture in the season.
Yeah, I mean, just looking quick at the group of five standings, they're all bunched up for the American, like you mentioned. Those top five teams are all real close. The Sun Belt, James Madison, Southern Mississippi, and Troy are all right there as well. The MAC, a little MACtion. We have Miami of Ohio, Central Michigan, and Ohio are all the top three teams as well. And then finally, the Conference USA. Kennesaw State is number one. Shout out to Kennesaw State, and then Jacksonville State and Western Kentucky. Now, last week we previewed, or no, we didn't preview. We debuted the blind bet. Now, I'll have to come up with something here on the fly, but I do have a bet in mind between two teams in the same conference, and this is a ranked matchup. Do you guys have any guesses of the teams that I'm thinking of and the bet that I'm thinking of? This is technically it would be considered an upset, but if you looked at the way that they were seeded, it would not be an upset.
Are you referring to the
Um,
Vanderbilt Texas game?
well, in
Wow.
Tennessee, Oklahoma.
No, Alex got it right off the bat. And I'm picking Vanderbilt to cover that 2.5. I see a 2.5 right now on ESPN. I don't know about that. Arch Manning, he's looked better than he did at the beginning of the season, but Vanderbilt, I don't think this is their time to get that second loss. So Vanderbilt plus 2.5. Alex nailed it right off the bat.
Okay.
So we'll have to see what happens for that. And that's one of the biggest matchups of the weekend. Another one in the ACC, Miami and SMU, I think is a key matchup. Georgia and Florida, a lot of these games looked really good in the preseason, all of them pretty much being a ranked matchup, but we've seen a lot of these teams fall and not really meet expectations. Obviously, Arizona, Colorado will be a big game. Oklahoma and Tennessee. Dad, who do you think for that one? Who are you picking for that game? Can
Well,
Tennessee come
y-
back, or is
yeah,
Oklahoma this?
because Tennessee had a lower rank. No, actually, they're a higher rank. They're 14th and Oklahoma's 18th. You're right. They're favored by 3.5, so they didn't get the. Well, I see why they didn't get the question. It's going to be close in that. I'm going to predict Tennessee. They're winning Neyland there and that over Oklahoma.
USC Nebraska was the last one I wanted to mention. What have you thought so far, Alex, of this season for USC, Lincoln Riley, and Nebraska and Dylan Raiola? Who needs this game more for the future of their programs?
So I think I think if you look at it in terms of the coaching perspective first, like I wouldn't say that Lincoln Riley nor is Matt Rule on the hot seat per se, but I think this game has more pressure for USC. Simply the fact that they are ranked, and this is the first time been good since like 1480, like during the Industrial Revolution. Like they had one winning season in what 2000 or something when they were good. Um, so I think there's a lot more pressure on USC to win this game. Like losing to Nebraska just looks horrible. I know they're having a good season and all, but you've got copycat and Magoo at quarterback for Nebraska. It's just the most annoying shit I've watched in college football. I really can't stand it whatsoever. Dylan Raiola makes me more upset watching him than watching Patrick Mahomes. Like he's got I mean, you're a man thinking about another man so much. You copy every single little thing that he does. Oh, it's just a coincidence. Yeah, okay. I'm sure it's a coincidence. Like last night, Mookie Betts, it'll come together. Mookie Betts after the end of the longest World Series game ever, the 18 inning masterclass between the Blue Jays and the Dodgers. Mookie Betts got asked about this in the locker room after a reporter asked him, "So when you go home tonight, is like Freddie Freeman or any of these other guys going to be in your mind when you lay in bed at night?" And he goes, "Why would I think about another man in bed?" It's like, why would you copy another man to such an extent like Rayola copies Mahomes? I really don't get it. I really don't.
Yeah, it would be okay doing it right now because it's Halloween this week, but doing it in September is a bit excessive. I think Lincoln Riley should have never left Oklahoma. Going to
I agree with that.
Titletown, going to LA. Yeah, you had Caleb Williams. What did you do? Win the Cheez-It Bowl or whatever they did. They haven't done anything in USC since Pete Carroll was there, and I'll stick by that. I will forever hate the Trojans and the Bruins for leaving the Pac-12 and ruining that. I can say it every week. My bold prediction before we close out this college football episode of the Tucson and Titletown. Michigan beats Ohio State again, but Ohio State makes it to the college football playoff Final four, I wanted to say, but I'll just say they'll make it to the championship. I think they're gonna take that defense all the way. Defense wins championships, as my dad knows. Shout out to our flag football squads back in elementary school. Dad, we'll go to you and then Alex, and that'll be the end of the show. Bold prediction for the rest of the season. Is it Arizona winning the Big 12, or is that too bold?
Oh, they have too many. They have three losses, but As far as them, yeah, they'll make a bowl, and I hopefully make one of the Pac-10 Legacy. If they don't make that and go 6-6, the New Mexico Bowl is probably where we'll go. Conference USA doesn't have enough teams, and there's an open slot, so we should sneak in there and play either UNLV or New Mexico is what they're projecting. So that would be a good possibility because it's geographically in between all of us, so we can meet there and party down in Albuquerque. Did you get that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Alex, bold prediction to close us out. I can't wait.
I've got a couple. One, I think Michigan bends over Ohio State this weekend. And two, I think
Penn
Mar-
State?
huh?
Penn State beats Ohio
No.
State? Oh no, Michigan.
Michigan will beat
Oh,
Ohio
okay,
State
okay.
this season. Not this week, but this
Oh.
season. No, Penn State's going to lose by 70. Um, secondly, my next bold take is that um, Marcel Reed is going to lead A&M to the promised land, and could they win a championship with Johnny Football. Marcel Reed is going to take over the promise that Johnny Manziel had in down there at A&M, and they are going to win the national championship. They are going to go clean, 100% perfect season and win the national championship. Lastly, my last bold prediction is that North Texas makes the CFP at the 12th spot, the only G5 school to do it.
Wow. Alex comes in hot. A great way to end a great episode. I think before we wrap up, we have a little bit more time than I thought. We can do a little Halloween edition of the college football show, Tucson and Titletown. I'll give my favorite scary movie for Halloween. I gotta give it to I'll say It Follows. Alex, will go to you. Favorite scary movie for Halloween.
Terrifier 2. I hate
Dad,
Art the Clown.
scary
Art the Clown is horrible.
Dad, close us out. Favorite scary movie.
Favorite scary movie would probably be Pitch Black. That is very scary.
Oh, that's a great way to end it. NFL show up next. Stay tuned. Click out of this video. Click onto that video. We will be back shortly.